Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Pagey, here once again with another video on some DC news. Now, in just over a week from now, roughly, we have CinemaCon on April 1st to be exact, and it is rumored that there will be new footage for, various films from various studios throughout the convention. That's the rumor going around, but specifically for the DC side, we are of course thinking of Superman. Now, it would be surprising if anything from Supergirl or Lanterns was shown, or obviously Lanterns because it's not even a film, so at least specifically Supergirl was shown, unless they maybe did a sizzle reel of sorts for Supergirl. But then again, if they did, I really, really highly doubt that would be revealed online, and they'd probably say like no phones and stuff, but maybe a new trailer could drop. That would most likely come online if it does drop, but once again, I'm not overly expecting that. But that is the word going around, but I've sort of lost faith in, quote, the word of late, so we'll just have to wait and see. But I don't know, do they need to drop a trailer then, or is it better to wait for, what is it, like later in the month or something when it's that Superman Day thing? So I don't know, we'll wait and see. But over the past few days, we got some news and rumors relating to a variety of upcoming DC projects from Supergirl, Lanterns, and of course Superman, so let's go over it. But of course, throughout the video, be sure to let me know in the comment section down below your various opinions and everything we go over in this video. Always curious to read what you guys are thinking, and of course, go on to enjoy the video, drop a like, takes 2 seconds. So the first thing is some stuff with Supergirl, but not really about Supergirl the character, but a supporting character in the film, that of course being Lobo, who will be played by Jason Momoa, a long-time fan cast, but also a long-time sort of dream role for Jason Momoa himself. Now, he's been promoting the Minecraft movie, which comes out in like, I don't know if, is it coming out the same day worldwide, or is it like a staggered release? I don't know, but it comes out in the next like fortnight roughly. But Momoa first said that Lobo will use his trademark curse words in the film Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow, with him quote saying, "We've been saying fraggin' and bastich quite a bit." And he also did confirm that he would have the classic motorcycle that Lobo does ride, which would have been surprising if that wasn't the case. But he went on to also say that he was born to play Lobo, and confirms that they are halfway through filming, or that he is specifically, I guess in regards to his role and the amount of days he's filming, is halfway through filming Supergirl. He said, "If we're going to typecast me in anything, let's put me in Lobo. Motorcycles, smoking cigars, partying, dreadlocks, loves to fight, funny." And look, that's the thing. I believe if Momoa didn't want to play Lobo, and he was like, no, I'm not the biggest fan of that, I don't really want to do it, Lobo wouldn't be in this movie. Lobo, I think, is not just appearing in this movie, but you could argue maybe he's just going to be in this DCU as a whole, and maybe even be a somewhat maybe consistent character that does recur because Momoa's playing the role. It's not like Wonder Woman or Batman or Superman or The Flash, where the character's going to be there because it's a character that you're going to use in a DC universe, because it's a popular character. Lobo, I don't think is that popular. He's very much a character that I think is stuck in the 90s and as an image and a relic from the 90s when they were trying to be like edgy and stuff. Though I think, was Lobo a character that was created in the really, really late 80s? But I guess he does reflect the 80s to an extent as well. But I think, as I just said, like, I just don't think this character would be showing up not just in Supergirl, but at all in live action in this DCU if Momoa didn't want to play him, because he's such a perfect fit. But I'm excited to see what they do with him. I'm not expecting him to be in this movie a ridiculous amount, but at least a considerable amount where they can use him in the promos, like in the trailers and stuff like that. But I don't know, I'm trying to think of a comparison point. Like, I guess maybe like Wonder Woman in Batman v Superman is maybe a decent point. She was in the trailers a decent amount, like, and they showed her, but then again, they ended up like showing a lot of her scenes, if that makes sense. Like, there was no like surprise scene that she showed up in. So maybe that's like the reference point there for Momoa as Lobo in Supergirl. But next up is a couple of castings for Lanterns, but technically the same casting. You'll understand when we get through it. Now, this is an exclusive from Deadline, and this is John Stewart Sr., but this is the casting for John Stewart Sr., so of course John Stewart's dad, but there's two of them. You might be like, okay, what the hell's going on here? Well, first, this is both of them from Deadline, as I said. Alphonse Nicholson is set for a key recurring role in Lanterns, HBO's drama series based on the Greenland DC comic. He joins leads Kyle Chandler and Aaron Pierre, and series regular Kelly MacDonald. Nicholson will play the young version of John Sr. Don't know specifically what age. I'd assume maybe early 30s, something like that, I guess, when John's a kid. And secondly, Sherman Augustus will play John Sr. in the current day, who is John Stewart's father and the human embodiment of, quote, stubborn. In his own reality, he tends to fixate on the past and what could have been. So this, I mean, I think these came one after, like, the one day and then the day after. I think they weren't released on the same day or on the same press release. It was like split between like 2 different days, or maybe they were split by a couple days, something like that. But of course, it's for the same character, but just in different, one's in the present day, one's going to be in I don't know, 20 years in the past. I'm not too sure because we don't specifically know, like, you know, where we're meeting John Stewart, like the actual John Stewart that becomes a Green Lantern when we see him in flashbacks. Is he 10 years old? Is he 15? Is he 5? We don't know specifically, but it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. But of course, this confirms that he is alive in the present day because we're getting, you know, Sherman Augustus as that current day John Sr. Now, we did get the casting for Bernadette, who was of course is playing John Stewart's mother, but we only got one. And I mean, the actress I'd assume is playing the current day based off like the age of the actress and everything like that. But once again, we don't know specifically what's happening there. And maybe she's playing the current day and also the flashback one. I'm not too sure. But then again, sometimes like this isn't like an official announcement, I guess. It's just like they get the scoop. They talk to Warner Brothers and they get like a little bit of a description and everything like that. So, I mean, they look like they fit the role. I mean, they look like they can easily play an older and younger version of each other, at least separated by like 20, 25 years or something like that. So, yeah, I mean, as I said, like when we we're talking about some of the other Lanterns castings that have come out recently, I just assumed that like the last one they'd really announce would be the Sinestro one. But I guess these are just little things that they release because it's a bit of a dead period, not just for like comic book news and stuff, but just news in general. Like this, it's a very slow period, really up until, yeah, probably like end of April, where maybe you get some stuff going on. And, you know, so I guess even just the trades are looking for stuff to talk about and report on. So, but yeah, it's interesting, but not that interesting at the same time. But at least they're fleshing out the cast, but it does confirm flashbacks, though we assume that would be the case anyway, especially with the older Hal Jordan, that they might do some flashbacks. But that's with Hal Jordan, so it looks like we're getting them with John Stewart as well, but he feels like he's going to be like the main character in the show, if that makes sense. And final thing to talk about is two things relating to Superman. The first is that Superman is releasing in Japan on the 11th of July this year. What's so big about that, Pagey? It's releasing in America on the 11th of July. It's releasing in Australia on the 11th of July. Well, Japan is notorious for having very late release dates, especially when it comes to blockbusters and some of these comic book movies and specifically DC movies as well. So this is a big thing. I think it just shows like the importance of the film to not only Warner Brothers, but also just, I guess, trying to make this like a worldwide thing. So, yeah, that's a big thing. It might seem small, but it's fairly decent in size in regards to importance. We'll see what the box office is like, but I think Japan should show up, hopefully. And the final thing to go over is some other Superman screening thoughts. These are non-spoiler, they don't spoil anything, but this is from the DCEU Leaks Reddit from a user with a supposed source. So it's not the user saying it, they just had a person that they talked to and then they reciprocated that information. But of course, with all this, you take it with a grain of salt, but essentially we're just going to go through them. There's about like 10 or 15 points here, but they're not overly long, you know, specifically, so or individually. So yeah, let's start now so we're not wasting any more time. The first one, the film wasn't a comedy, but did have funny moments in it. I mean, we've heard similar things from other things as well. The next one, characters aren't who people think they are, which is interesting. Is this in reference to Ultraman? Is this in reference to the Engineer? Is this in reference to Superman himself? Who knows? Online speculation is dead wrong. Now, I mean, very vague in regards to this. Is in reference to the quality of the film, like theories in regards to the story, theories in regards to other castings, like very vague what they say here. The next one, most of the trailer scenes are from early in the film. Now, we had heard about this, I think when the trailer came out, that like this trailer didn't show, it might have been one of the actors or something like that, that the trailer itself didn't show really anything of note in regards to the main, you know, like in regards to like spoiling the movie towards the end. There's only like a couple of bits here and there. And I think those are the ones you can point out, like the stuff that was in the air and everything like that. So we already sort of heard that, but obviously this backs it up again if it is true. The next one, crypto plays an important role, but it felt a little tacked in. That part felt artificial. Now, I mean, once again, this is one of those things where people will either try and make a big point of it before they even watch it or mean nothing, like just, you know, scrap it and go, who cares? I mean, a flying dog that doesn't talk would always be hard, especially we've heard that crypto is obviously they say here it plays an important role, but we'd heard before, even I think from James Gunn himself, that crypto is a big part of the film. You know, it's gonna like probably test people. It might be like a divisive point when the movie comes out, but once again, I'm not going to think about it too much until the movie actually comes out, because some might not like it, but some might love it, and some people might just be like, oh, it was okay. The next thing, there is no after credit scene, at least not that they were shown. One could be there, but their source can't confirm. I don't think they ever really put after credit scenes in test screenings. I don't think so. I don't think they really ever do that. from everything. They don't do that, don't they? Like usually you get like the first little hinted after credit scenes when they do like the press screenings and stuff like that, and they get those ones where maybe people see it like 2 or 3 weeks ahead, and then those like, or maybe even just the week leading up to the film. So I don't think they normally do that anyway, do they? I don't think they do. The next thing, while Rick Flag Sr. is in the film and he plays a rather short role, there were no nods to Creature Commandos that their source noted. No, their source is not a DC file, so they could have missed something. I think the only reference they could make is the fact that like he's sort of filling in for maybe like the public image, or like, you know, filling in for like what Amanda Waller could do. So maybe that's just slyly dropped, and if you're just watching it, you're not paying too much attention. That might be it. Oh, hold on. Well, the next one is there was a nod to Amanda Waller, though it wasn't an audience wink and it's a blink and you'll miss it. So maybe those are it. Maybe that's the thing. It's like they reference Amanda Waller, but it's Rick Flag Sr. and what he's doing there. And that's the connection to Creature Commandos there, because that was obviously established really early into Creature Commandos. So they could be going hand in hand. Next, the source's impressions were that the film is good from a person who doesn't follow DC films. The source is not a comic book buff, DC or Marvel, but they enjoyed it. I mean, I think that's sort of like James Gunn's thing usually, isn't like with these, like even the Guardians movies or even the DC stuff he's done before. Like there's cuts, but a lot of times they're like really deep cuts. Like you got to be like someone from like that's probably like 40 or 50 years old or read a lot of back catalogs and stuff and caught up to get some of those things that are more deep. And if you're not falling into that camp, then it's very much like a general user can watch it and enjoy it. I don't think Gunn necessarily overly leans into like, oh, this is for the fan of this character specifically. It's meant to appeal to everyone, which can be a double-edged sword. You know, it can be a double-edged sword, but I don't know. I have faith that he'll do a decent job. The next one, the secondary plot of the film focused primarily on Lois and Clark. Next, Brosnahan stole every scene she was in, but in brackets, their source loves Miss Maisel though, so that could be biased. I mean, when Rachel Brosnahan was cast as Lois, I think we all thought she's probably going to be a pretty good Lois. Whether it's the best of all time, who knows? But I mean, I think you need that. The secondary plot of the film is focusing primarily on Lois and Clark. I think you need that. One of the biggest issues with like what we saw in the Snyderverse, I mean, they tried, but it was really like that just Lois and Clark didn't really work. The chemistry was like as flavorful as cardboard. But yeah, you got to spend time with this if you want to make people buy into it and believe it and everything like that. So you sort of want that. You just don't want it to take away too much from the Superman side of things if that's not the intention. And we're getting to the end here, the fifth last one. Nicholas Hoult was good as Lex Luthor, but he overacts a bit. He does anger very well, but he was a bit much in other scenes, and that might be when they're being like the over-the-top Lex. But I mean, that's probably very subjective, because once again, we don't know what that means, and we haven't really heard him talk and stuff like that when it comes to Lex Luthor, so I can't really judge that too much off what we've seen so far, but I sort of feel like that leans into Lex Luthor a bit, but we'll wait and see. The next, his two goons, non-sus, were delightful and worked well with Lex's energy. The source felt they helped, but weren't absolutely necessary. I don't know if this is meant to be like, is that the engineer and Miss Tessmacher, or is it the engineer and Ultraman? They just said he's two goons, so I'm not too sure specifically who they're talking about, but it could be either of those three, or, you know, obviously two of those three in whatever combination. But they weren't absolutely necessary. I mean, probably depends. Once again, probably subjective. Some of the effects don't work super well, though their source doesn't know if it was an early cut. The scenes of the Ice Palace were a little rough. I mean, I'm assuming it was an earlier cut, and like, I mean, movies aren't done until like sometimes, most of the time, the week of release, and that comes down to VFX as well. That's why you'll see like sometimes on a Blu-ray or a 4K, the VFX are upgraded, or even in the actual release of the film. The first week there's an issue with the VFX. The next week when you go see the same thing, oh, the VFX got fixed up. That happens. So I mean, I'd assume like that it wasn't really finished. And they specify by saying that some of the effects with the big monster, I'm assuming she's talking about the kaiju, were rough, and the source thought his face looked a little goofy. Once again, the effects probably weren't done. And the final thing, their source said that it had a lot of characters, but didn't feel like they took away from the main plot. I mean, we know there's a lot of characters, and there's probably going to be characters in this film that aren't in the trailers and we don't know about as of yet. But I mean, as long as this movie is clearly a Superman movie, you can have as many characters there as you want. But as I say, they didn't feel like it took away from the main plot, and that's the most important thing. Make sure it's about Superman, and to a degree, Clark and Lois, and I guess and then you got to include the villain side with Lex Luthor as well, and make you care about it, and, you know, make sure it works and it blends together. But I mean, I feel like James Gunn's going to do a good job. And from the rumor that we have with the runtime of like 2 hours 20, give or take 5 minutes either way, I feel like that's enough time to spread things out. And from what we know, it's not an origin story. They'll probably reference his origin, maybe even show something of it, but we're not spending half an hour, 45, God forbid an hour, building up to him actually putting on the suit for the first time. He's going to start the movie most likely straight up being Superman. But yeah, all this sounds fine. Obviously, there's some subjective stuff there that, you know, we didn't watch the movie. We have to wait till July 11th to find out what all this means, and if even if any of this is true. But you know what I mean, like in regards to the quality, and if, you know, this is all just, you know, one person's thought that doesn't line up with the majority of people. So we'll wait and see. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, it'd be awesome if you could drop a like on it to show support. Let me know in the comment section down below your various opinions and everything we went over in this video. Always curious to read what you guys are thinking. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe, and I will catch you guys later. Goodbye.